Hi family, welcome back. Now in this video, I want to show you why you might be stuck on the basis of that you are busy, but you're not scaling. So there might be a few reasons for this, and we're going to focus a little bit more on this part of the process map right here. So it really starts off with getting an inconsistent lead flow and getting an improper lead flow. So think about it like this. You're really bringing in these low quality services versus the high ticket services, right? So you have two different things you offer. You either have like maybe you focus mainly on one service, one procedure, or you have like kind of a menu like offer. So this inconsistent lead flow kind of looks like this: is that you're either dealing with marketing issues where you're spending a lot of money, a few $1,000s a month for them to run you ads, and the thing with them is that they want as much money up front. They want to get as much money as possible to do the least amount of work. So it's that the effort to result disparity that you're looking at, and it's really hard to trust these companies because there's so many of them out there. So that's the one low quality leads area that we look at. And then if we look at another thing is that they're running basic Facebook ads. So if we look down here in, I mentioned in one of the glass modules, is that most of these med spas and doctors are just running these basic static ads, whether they're videos or they're just static images. They're running relatively the same thing, and these can bring in leads, but ads are usually just a race to the bottom if you're not actually copying the creatives, the hooks, the frameworks that actually work that can bring in a lot of traffic. And you also need an appointment setting process in place and everything. But we went over that before. But this just goes to show that a lot of these companies are doing the same things for every single med spa, and this is why a lot of med spas struggle um, with being very, very busy, attracting maybe a lot of traffic and clients, but, they're not really going anywhere, and they're stuck between, the $50,000 to $75,000 a month range. And, these random stock photos and these tired promos and everything like that, they really bring random results, and they bring the type of leads that are just going to price shop, and even in low ticket in general. So if you're just focusing on really attracting low ticket offers because it's easier, if you think it's easier, in the long run, it's actually going to prevent you from actually building a sustainable business, because the people who are more likely to spend less money are actually the more annoying clients to deal with, because they're going to be price shoppers. So not only are they going to be annoying to deal with, to talk to just be worse clients, but they're also going to spend less money. And when you get less cash flow, of course, your the LTV to CAC is going to be off, and we're going to go over that in about 30 seconds here. But that's going to be off, and also you're going to be spending a lot more to run the business. So your overhead is a lot higher, and you're bringing in less cash flow, and then you have lower profit margins, and you can't really afford to invest here. So this is kind of what the part of the process map looks like. I'm going to show you guys in just a minute how to actually solve this, and how to stop being super, super busy and feel like you're doing everything yourself, and actually start scaling the proper way. So once you lack the inconsistency flow and you have random results, you really lack that control, because you have the inability to kind of track your monthly revenue, and you can't really forecast how many appointments, how many consultations are going to come in a certain month. Because if you're dealing with a marketing agency, that should be their job, and they most of the time they lack communication, and they'll be not they won't be able to give you the access to that data. If you're doing it yourself, it's also very difficult to do, because you have to know what to track, and what metric means what, and where you adjust, and where do you solve these problems. So that's why I see so many med spas after working with over dozens of med spas. We see that a lot of them just depend on not actually tracking the metrics, and rather just bring in single sessions, because it's easier on the front end, but then eventually in the long run, it's actually going to hit them, and they're going to plateau. Now, so after they bring in the single sessions, that of course means that there's a high churn rate. High churn rate is there's a low lifetime value. Your business is determined, the value of your business is determined by how much a customer spends with you. So if someone just buys a $200 lip filler or anything like that, then if you want to exit, or if you're looking for investors or anything like that, they're going to look at the your lifetime value, and they're going to see how much does a customer spend. And if it's only $200, you're going to really have a hard time getting anywhere where you want to go. So high churn rate, of course, means low profit margins. So once you're bringing in those single sessions, it means you have low profit margins, and that ties back to the title of this video: is that you're busy but you're not scaling. So there's that effort to result disparity. So you are investing so much effort, maybe yourself, or you're also spending a lot of money, a lot of time into the business, but the results you're getting for that doesn't really equate to the amount of effort. So there's that disparity there, and there's the entire gap that we need to be able to close and solve. And I'm going to show you exactly how you could do it yourself in this video. So what that looks like, being busy but not scaling, is that you're spending maybe hours on consults that actually don't end up converting. You're dealing with price shoppers. Your team is completely overloaded. So your practitioners, or maybe your front desk, they're completely overloaded, or maybe you are even overloaded and you feel like you're going through chaos and that you're doing everything yourself, and that leads to stagnation, and you're not going to even go anywhere. If anything, you're going to plummet the business to the ground, because after burnout, things will just start going downhill. So this is kind of how it looks like. It's based off the fundamental economic principle of every single company. I mentioned it right before, but I'm going to mention it again. And it's the LTV to CAC. So let me give you a little example here. So let's say prospect letter A right here comes in through a Facebook ad. You spend $75 cost per consultation. So you're spending around, it doesn't really matter how much per month. Let's just say $75 cost per consultation. So someone comes in, you spend $75 to acquire them onto a consultation. And then they end up purchasing a $200 lip filler, like the example I used before. But the thing is, they're uneducated, they're from ads, and they don't really know what you do. Now their lifetime value is $200, because they're uneducated, because they don't really know what you do. They kind of just bought your service on a whim because they had such a strong desire to get it done. So it's very possible that happens, where someone has such a strong desire and such urgency to get something done right away because their pain is at the highest peak, that they're just going to buy from you. And then once they buy, that problem goes away and the pain goes away. So that's in this case, this is what the situation looks like, and you end up profiting only $125. So the $75 cost per consultation, so that's how much you spent to acquire the customer, and then $200 is the lifetime value, because they only spent once. So that's $125 profits. Now prospect B, they came in through the same channel, so Facebook ads. You spent the same amount, so $75 to acquire them, and they ended up actually spending $200 for a lip filler as well. But what you ended up doing is actually getting them onto a $150 per month membership. So what that does is, not only are they a loyal customer to you, but they're actually educated now. So because they're wrapped into essentially your ecosystem, by getting them onto a monthly subscription, they're now going to become educated on your offer every single time they walk through the doors, but also once they get into your email list because they're a member. And let's say, for example, this prospect stays for 9 months. For example, a lot of the times they honestly, they stay for much longer, because if you're charging $150 per month, that's not a lot. Most people spend thousands of dollars on rent, and you want to charge around, but it doesn't really matter too much. But you want to have a basis of, you want to charge an amount where these people will not notice their charges in their bank accounts. So if it's somewhere between, a few $1,000s, it's going to be up there with rent. And they'll be like, okay, do I really need this? But if it's something like, $100, $150, not many people, especially if they see the value, not many people are going to be like, okay, I need to cancel this, right? And even you can go lower than this. It just goes to show, how effective this really is. But for example, let's say they stay for 9 months, their LTV is now $1,550. You now profit $1,475 compared to the $125 you would if they were just a one-time customer. That's a 12x difference. So it just goes to show how valuable lifetime value is, and how much your customer is going to spend. And if you're looking to not only build the business yourself and scale it, but if you're looking to exit and sell it to somebody, they're going to look at this, and I can tell you that much for sure. So if you look at it, it's the same ads, same initial procedure. They both got lip filler, but really a customer's value is determined by how many times they are going to buy from you. The less you spend to acquire, the more money each customer spends, and thus the more money you make, of course. Now, most businesses have memberships, I'm sure and loyalty programs. If you think of airlines, Starbucks, any credit cards, they all have loyalty programs, and you're probably a part of a lot of these loyalty programs. So now I want to write down a few solutions for you guys. So instead of just being telling you exactly what's wrong, you probably mostly know what is wrong. I want to tell you how you could fix this, instead of, just being stuck in the same part where you're going to end up burning out. You're not going to end up going anywhere, and you bring in the same low quality leads. So the first thing is that you either want to offer one high ticket procedure, or um, be seen as the expert for high ticket. Uh, so the difference between these two, so either you adjust your offer completely to the point where you are only offering one high ticket procedure, so only one, and you don't really offer anything else, or you be seen as the expert for the high ticket service. So whatever it is, that you are best at, it's either you offer one high ticket procedure and that's all you offer, or you be seen as the expert for high ticket. So what I mean by be seen as the expert is that you offer low ticket services, but you usually use that as like some sort of add-on or some sort of like um, upsell. So you're kind of just adding it on to the initial high ticket, and you want to be seen as the go-to person for the high ticket procedure instead of really pushing the low ticket, if that makes sense. So it's either you focus on one, or don't and you ignore all the low ticket completely. It works really, really well. Or you kind of just offer the high ticket, but also subtly send low quality leads, leads that might not be able to afford the high ticket, onto low quality offers, and that could work as well. So that's number one. Number two here is, let's say, um, number two is stop working with marketing agencies, because I'm going to tell you right now why you need to start owning your growth and instead of dealing with marketing agencies. So like I mentioned, marketing agencies are going to try to get as much money out of you and do the lowest quality results. So they're going to most likely just run Facebook ads, run low quality offers, and get low quality leads for you. And what that does is probably the primary cause of why you're busy but not scaling. If you're working with a marketing agency, it's because they're going to bring in a lot of volume, and a lot of volume looks good on paper, but at the end of the day, it's not actually going to scale the business. So they're going to say, I'm doing my job, I'm getting you this, X amount of leads or X amount of appointments, but you're not going anywhere, so it doesn't mean anything, right? So that's number two. And lucky for you guys, I've created this entire course to show you how to start owning your growth and stop dealing with marketing agencies, implement predictable systems that are going to not only get you more consultations, get you from point A to point B, but actually make your business a lot more valuable. So that's number two. Number three here is actually one of the most important things, and I see a lot of med spas not doing this at all, and honestly a lot of businesses in general, is track your metrics so you can increase lifetime value. So if I look down here, this is our tracking sheets that we use for our partners. We go on Trends and Insights. We see, make it inevitable that our clients succeed. So we go through every single possible failure scenario and then how to avoid that. And we also track every single lead that comes in through the pipeline automatically. We track the KPIs. We do all those things. So this is the things that you need to be tracking every single time. So if you're running ads, you need to be able to, track your cost per lead, your cost per booked consultation, even your cost per closed consultations, or your cost per clients. You need to be able to track all of these, figure out, where your problems are in the business, and then also, track the lifetime value. So your lifetime value to CAC ratio, track that. See how much you're spending a month on ads, or on labor or anything like that, how much it costs to acquire, and also compare that to how much a customer will spend on average in your business. So figure that out, and then once you track these metrics, trust me, you're going to be able to figure out, how do I actually increase lifetime value? Do I get people on the memberships? Do I maybe down the line offer continuous value where I re-engage them? Whatever it is, you're going to be able to have much more control of your business. And really, if you don't want to do these things yourself, You could, hire someone, pay a few $1,000s for them, or you could partner with us and we'll give you all our metric tracking sheets and everything you need to really have a full bird's eye view of your business. So that is that. Number one, once again, just to go over it, is either you offer one high ticket procedure or be seen as the expert for a high ticket. Number two, stop working with marketing agencies, own your growth, and start tracking everything yourself. Number three, based on the tracking, check your metrics, increase lifetime value, and have full control of your business. So that's it for this module. I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.